The roundel in the middle is the key and the culmination of the other scenes. In this roundel, I have shown the Lord Duke Cosimo, triumphant and glorious, crowned by a Florence with an oaken crown.
The Apotheosis of Cosimo I, painted by Giorgio Vasari in the centre of the ceiling of the Sala dei Cinquecento, provides a key to understanding the significance of the 16th century decoration in Palazzo Vecchio, intended to adapt the rooms to their new function as ducal residence. Cosimo is the visual and ideal centre not only of the Salone, but of the entire decorative scheme in the palace. Giorgio Vasari, who was responsible for the architectural and pictorial decoration of Palazzo Vecchio from 1555 to his death in 1574, was the master designer of this complex programme of Medician propaganda. Cosimo is shown surrounded by the best Florentine artists of the time, such as Battista del Tasso, architect and engraver, who is holding a model of the Loggia del Mercato Nuovo, Tribolo, the sculptor and landscape architect, who is holding models of fountains, the sculptors Baccio Bandinelli and Benvenuto Cellini, and the sculptor Bartolomeo Ammannati. But of them all, Vasari was the most able at transforming into images the political, historical and artistic projects of Cosimo I's absolutist government, impressing the works at Palazzo Vecchio with an extraordinary unity and cohesion. Vasari selected the subjects to be treated in close collaboration with the humanist Don Vincenzo Borghini and under the supervision of the Duke, advised by the historian Giovan Battista Adriani.
The scenes show the affairs of Fiorenza from its foundation until today. And as this city of Florence is divided into quarters, 2 quarters of it are shown in each roundel.
The quarters are personified as Roman warriors holding their shields. Santa Croce with the gold cross on an azure field, Santo Spirito with the dove, Santa Maria Novella with the sunburst, and San Giovanni with the baptistry. The female figure above, with flowers in her hand, represents Florence. The history of Florence is told through its most important phases: the foundation of the Roman colony, the 14th century enlargement of the circuit of city walls, and the expansion of the territory.
Enemies overcome, cities subjected, and finally the beginning and the end of the war with Pisa on the one hand, and the beginning and the end of the war with Siena on the other.
That is to say, the expansion of Medician rule over the city and the territory. The glory of Cosimo is thus founded on Florence's prestigious past, such as is evoked by the putti surrounding Cosimo, holding the shields of the guilds and corporations which governed the city before the coming of Medici rule. The conquest of Siena in particular appears as an event intended to reflect the greatness of Cosimo. The Duke, in his own residence in Palazzo Vecchio, pores over the strategy he is to adopt, measuring the Sienese defences with a pair of compasses. In his decision, he is assisted only by personifications of the political and strategic virtues: vigilance, patience, strength, prudence, and silence. In the private apartments, the subject of the paintings changes from the history of the city to that of the Medici family. In the apartment of Leo X, the dynasty is celebrated in the deeds of its most famous members: the head of the family, Cosimo il Vecchio, the great patron and statesman, Lorenzo the Magnificent, the 2 Medici popes, Leo X and Clement VII, the mercenary captain Giovanni delle Bande Nere, father of Cosimo I. The cycle concludes with the sala devoted to Cosimo I. where the Duke's emblems are accompanied by portraits of his wife Eleonora and his sons Francesco, Don Giovanni and Don Garzia, and Don Piero. Finally, the programme of dynastic celebrations centred on Cosimo concludes with the Room of the Maps, where the representation of the cosmos alludes to the Duke even through his name.